limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. Yeah, we Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Rick flaring, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. One eye open like Betty Wops and find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry for spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Rick flaring on him. Rick flaring on him. Rick flaring on him. Rick flaring, son up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Hump Day! You already know what it is. It's your boy Scotty. Listen, we back in the building with another show, Behind the Numbers, with my partnership, HBCU League Pass Class, and probably the best commission in the business, Dr.Kiki from GCAC. All right, listen, we're going to get into that today, and we're going to try to get it. We're just going to try to take it another level. We just try to go deeper. You know, when you get to psychologists and they say, can you go deeper? We try to go deeper. All right. So make sure you're here. When you're here, like the stream, do what you do, but watch my shoes. All right. Listen, let's start it off today with my partnership. Want to get into it. We're going to start with a hard hitter. Mr. Victor Pelt.
Yes, sir.
What's up, Mr. Hardy? How you doing?
Good, my friend.
HBCU League Pass Plus and Urban Edge Network. Introduce yourself to the people out there if they don't know who you are.
Hardy, also known as Victor Pelt. That is my nickname, not my real name. The story goes that my mom actually named me Victor. My dad, who I'm like the fifth Hardy, apparently changed my name on the birth certificate. So if my mom was on here right now, she'd be furious that people still have to call me Hardy. So she nicknamed me Victor. Over 30 years NBA experience. Actually worked with HBCUs originally back in 2003 while I was still vice president of corporate sales of the Golden State Warriors, and started this little streaming network to address some of the needs that I thought the HBCUs needed, which was first, taking control of your commerce, two, and more importantly, taking control of your content. And we have been blessed to have grown tremendously quickly. And then because of our big bro, I call him Big Brother Byron Allen and Uncle Roland and Todd Brown, you guys are in the middle of a civil rights movement that I don't even think people know that they're in the middle of right now. But we're being blessed, and we've met some great folks. Even like yourself, I've met a lot of podcasters as well. You guys are blowing it up in the industry. The agencies are taking notice, by the way.
Appreciate it.
So we want to continue to build on this momentum. But my background is just, I'm here to help any way we can.
I like it. Now, Mr. Pelt, like, you know how I get down. You watch enough shows. So I got to call you to the carpet just like I call everybody else to the carpet.
Okay. Which I told you. Remember, I told you, don't ever hold back. If we did something we ain't supposed to do, contrary to police people, I do not tell this man what to say. In fact, we probably tell him, hey, don't say that, but he says it anyways. But
So, listen, it wouldn't be me if I didn't. So you jumped on another platform, and this is what was said.
Okay.
Right. I'm just trying to explain it to people so that they understand what you mean by media rights, because there's people that are representatives of your particular company or that are promoting media rights, but they're not explaining what it is. So we need to make it plain for basically a 10-year-old to understand.
No, you're right.
What it is that you're doing. So basically, what you're doing is you're have a partnership with the school.
Now, I've been rocking with y'all. Have I misrepresented y'all in any? When it comes to media rights, I just want to understand. Have I misspoke? Have I misrepresented? Because for me, I need to know. I don't know about the people, but I need to know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me say this. I thought it was an excellent question because that's kind of how the HBCUs, in my opinion, have gotten into this position. People just don't understand what they're doing. And I don't blame the conferences. I don't blame the schools. I don't blame any of the HBCU folks. I blame the corporations because they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They know that the HBCU leadership doesn't know what to say or how to negotiate these deals. So they take advantage of them because of that's Bible. Without a vision, people perish. If you don't have any information. So I'm glad she asked the question. So to my knowledge, you have not misrepresented anything that I know of. But it is unfortunate we're going through a process where we are educating our folks. Unfortunately, some of this through the legal system. But trust me, when the smoke clears, everybody's going to have a clear understanding of roles, responsibilities, and who and what your worth is and what that means. Because if you don't have these pillars in place, Scotty, these HBCUs are going to go out of business in 10 years.
I like it. Now, I want to bring up Dr.Kiki Barnes really quickly, who is a part of your partnership in regards to HBCU League Pass. Dr.Kiki Barnes, what's going on?
We love Dr. Barnes. I still don't know why she signed with us, but hey, thank you again. As I tell her.
How you doing, Dr. Kiki?
I'm doing good. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. Now, your partnership with HBCU League Pass was transformative in the sense of it wasn't ESPN, it wasn't a traditional network. What made you feel comfortable, and what did HBCU League Pass show you that made you feel like this was the direction for your conference to go in regards to them?
Well, Hardy, it's good to see you this morning. I think so. There are a couple of things. When I was hired, one of the pillars that the presidents said to me that they wanted to see happen was we had to figure out how we could generate additional revenue outside of membership dues. For those who aren't familiar with the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, we are the only HBCU conference in the NAIA. We have 8 schools, 6 states. We'll be adding a territory. We'll be adding University of Virgin Islands next year. And up until this point, them hiring me, I became the first full-time commissioner. And the reason why we couldn't hire somebody full-time is because our membership dues were our only revenue source for the conference. And that revenue source was not enough where we could afford a full-time leader. And so the president said, we're going to take this step, but you're going to have to generate probably most of your salary and figure out how we can take the assets that we have, which are all of our championships, and figure out how to monetize them so that now the conference can support itself and its member institutions. So enter the chat. We were having conversations with several different groups about media rights, but out of all the proposals that came forward that were brought to our Council of Presidents, only one had a check attached to it, and that was Urban Edge. They were the only partner to come to us and say, we don't want to take all your rights and not give you anything. They were the only company that put forward a proposal that came with cash.
Wow. Wow. Now, Mr. Pelt, what was the overall intent of you partnering with the GCAC, and what was your vision for the GCAC with the partnership?
Yeah, now I'll be honest with you. I never intended on doing any deals with any conferences themselves. And it's because of the way the HBCUs are structured. The way they're structured is the conference is no different than when I was in the NBA. The NBA controls the finals and the All-Star game. Other than that, as the vice president of corporate sales and services for the Warriors, the conference, the NBA league office couldn't tell me what to do with those games. So we did our own separate television agreement, for example, for all of my games. I'm one of the first people in the NBA that sold all of my games to Fox Sports Regional. Most people did like half and half. They do some with some people, some with other companies. I sold them all to one. Now, having said that, I wanted to deal directly with the schools because I wanted the revenues to go directly to the schools without being filtered through any other piece. However, Dr. Barnes said something to me, and one of the presidents, I don't remember which one, said something to me that changed my entire heart. I don't know if you remember this, Commissioner, but you said, hey, we don't know how to do this. That's what she said. And she said, we don't know how to do this. Will you help us learn how to do this? And I went, that's the group I want to work with. Because they're not going to try to fight me. They're going to try to act like they know more than me. They're just going to do what I ask them to do. And what I found is the combination is, as I tell all the time, hey, I'm just going to teach you the fundamentals. You throw your stuff on top of it. And that's what they've been doing. I'm just telling them the fundamental part. And then I'm amazed at how they grab it. And then she puts her stank on it. And before you know it, you got something 3 times bigger than what we started with. And the agencies are loving it. We just, an example was the basketball tournament just now.
Absolutely. And I wanted to touch on that just for a second as well, Commish, that would you have ever thought that your conference basketball at NAIA over the events drew over 1 million views? It's by Google Analytics, and you're going up against some of the big dogs, because we all understand as the levels go down, the viewers go down, the eyes go down. So outside of just seeing this impact on a visual scale, have you also seen the impact with Urban Edge in your conference as well? Like, what are they doing with inside your conference that you're like, I'm glad I partner, I'm glad I'm seeing the impact of our partnership?
Well, let me say this. I think about this all the time, and I think about the number of people who've approached us and can see, as I share with you, I became the first time full-time employee for the conference. They know we initially didn't have money, but then they give me a proposal asking me for a whole bunch of money with hopes that we're going to get something back. Like, it doesn't make any sense. We can't grow if we don't have resources. And I mean, and you can really talk about this in every area. You know, it's not just HBCU, but any small business. I mean, just looking at it from an entrepreneurship standpoint, most small businesses don't make it because they don't have capital to be able to scale. And so this relationship, along with a couple of other relationships, so our first real corporate partner, Hope Credit Union, I'm throwing them in there because they became the title sponsor. They signed a 2-year deal, 6-figure deal. They gave us cash. And so when they gave us cash, I was able to get a team. Now, my team isn't full-time. Everybody's like an independent contractor, but I have extremely talented people on my team. Yeah. They are talented superstars. Danny Wright, my director of strategic communications, a superstar. And y'all better not try to come take my superstar from me. Kelly Brooks, my operations person, is like, I got superstars on my team that's working right behind it and doing great work, and we're building partnerships. Y'all, I couldn't have done that without funding.
Absolutely.
Without some initial scalability. So I see our partnership and our relationship with Urban Edge, with Hope Credit Union, these people who decided to invest in us first because they saw our potential, like, it makes us go harder. So we're working hard together. We're working hard together to grow and to create recurring revenue so that we continue to build and do more, to create great experiences for our student athletes, to give them the top-notch awards. Like, so interesting, we were at Tougaloo. So Tougaloo won yesterday. That if y'all get a chance, go check out Tougaloo tonight. They're playing to go to the top 16. We are so proud of them. But I saw some of the kids in the championship shirts, which our partner Urban Edge was the sponsor for. They saw one had their cross country medal, because they also ran cross country. They had their medal. One had their cap. But the way our student athletes look and feel it, like, man, when I win something from the conference level, it's got swag, like they wearing it in other places. I took pictures. I was like, oh, they are so happy. They really love what we've done. But guess what? Our partner Urban Edge actually sponsored those shirts for us. Like, that's an additional cost that I didn't have to incur, and I can take those funds and be able to use them in other ways. Absolutely. They sponsored our internship program. Our kids are getting paid. We have an internship program we have an intern at every school in our conference. Urban Edge funded that. Like, it's not free. We're not doing to come volunteer with the conference so you can get experience.
Absolutely.
So when we're talking about how a partnership should work, understanding who we were, building, remember, we're a startup and we're building, even though we've been around for 40 years, we're building, having those initial investments have helped us to like triple, like literally we're in year 3 in 6 months, y'all.
Wow.
I didn't expect to be here this quickly.
So you're in year 3 based off your 5-year vision plan, but you're already in, wow.
Yeah. We in year 3 right now, and we 6 months in.
Wow.
And so I just, if we want to, there are 2 sides of this. One, if we want to be able to compete and be able to do the best we can, one, we have to have some initial investments. Thank you, Urban Edge, for that. And then secondly, the other piece is, from the standpoint where I sit, then I have to work collaboratively with all our partners to ensure that we can create a mechanism where the revenue keeps coming.
Absolutely.
It has to recur. And anybody who's done business and entrepreneurship, monthly recurring revenue, those are things you're looking at. What's coming in all the time? And this partnership now helps us to try to get into that space. And here's the interesting thing about it, y'all. Any small business people out there, like if you're in a mastermind, or you're in a group, everybody, we've had tons of digital creators and content creators who are on their own, like you, Scotty, building YouTube followers and making a killing. So why can't we do that as a conference?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, why can't we do that? If one person, I have watched, there are creators here in the city that I have watched build businesses.
Yes.
We have to do the same thing. We're just now, I think we have even a greater cause because we've got education, higher ed, which is really important. We know how we have, our institutions have closed the gap in terms of, what do you want to call it? Economic attainment for African Americans. So we even have a higher calling when you attach this to HBCUs and to what we're doing. So what athletics can do in any arena is we can find a way to pay for ourselves. That would help our institutions if we could figure that out.
Yeah. And it's got to just, that's where the commissioner's talking about, that's where the media came in.
Yes.
So because people ask me all the time, why did you guys give each school their own channel? And I tell them simply because it takes you out of the donation budget and into the media budget. So now the GCAC, as well as each one of their schools, can actually now, when I talk to GM in an hour, I got a meeting in an hour with General Motors, we're going to be talking about media.
Yeah.
And just so you know, those Google Analytics you just pulled, they pulled the same numbers. And the phone immediately started ringing off the hook. The email started blowing up saying, get in here, let's talk. Mm-hmm. Because we showed that the concept is, I don't care if it's the GCAC, the CIAA, the SIAC, the MEAC, or the SWAC. It's your audience.
Period.
If you want to watch Russ play basketball, it's only one way you can see it. And that's with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the last question before I let you go, Dr. Commish, is that without Urban Edge and without this upfront funding and without this engine behind you, pushing you, what would your conference honestly look like right at this point?
Striving for relevance, right? And probably me being overworked. Because now what I will say is I go hard,
I was about to say you're gonna make it regardless.
I go hard, y'all. Like that's the reality. Yeah. But I don't think I see the Urban Edge partnership as the multiplier. Right? It's the multiplier. Like we probably would eventually got there, but not in 6 months. And now we can see, oh gosh, it's amazing. Like I can't unsee it. It's so exciting for our institutions to now say that we have another arm where we're generating funds and that we know we can count on that. Because every year, as I think about those lovely Super Bowl ads that they spend millions of dollars on, and I'm gonna tell y'all when I was done, I think I got an email. I subscribed to some journal where I'm getting emails, and in November, it was like 95% of all the Super Bowl ads have been sold. And I was like, but the Super Bowl in February, what do you mean 95% of the money been spent? I was like, and I know per commercial, we talking $2-3 million per commercial. So I'm still doing the math like they got enough money to spend millions and millions and billions of dollars on one 30-second spot. Now here's the numbers, and this is the kind of stuff we got to be thinking about. That's only for the spot. We're not talking about for the creative. So if you hire, and you think about all of these ads, y'all, like they use the biggest names that they have. So they come with a fee. And then all the people, the cameras. And remember, I was a former model, y'all. In case you didn't know, I used to model back in the day. So if you watch Deja Vu, I have a cameo. On Deja Vu. I'm a little lady raising the tickets. That's me, y'all.
In the Denzel Washington, Jake?
Yeah, I got a cameo. And I'm waving a little ticket. I got paid good for that, y'all. I love it. I was on the set for 10 days. Yeah, I worked one day. I was on the set for 10 days, got paid. But y'all, it's millions of people to produce one spot. You got makeup, you got hair, you got 3, 4, 5 videographers, you got the photographer people, you've got the person that hold the light, the person that hold the microphone, you got the set people, you got to rent out the space. That's not even the money to create the creative that's going to show for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I was like, so we get a piece of that, like just 1% of that.
That's real.
So when you start realizing like, oh, but guess what? That don't happen when you don't have your network.
Come on, talk to him.
Do you see why?
Because you can't measure anything, so you don't have no network. And again, for those who are in entrepreneurship and you've tried to run your own business, and then you start taking these little groups, and then they start telling you have to learn about the analytics. I know about this because I have a small business, so I know I have Google Analytics on my own personal site, and I ain't running enough people to it, right? Because I'm not really focused on my own stuff. But the formula is the same. It don't matter whether you being an individual creator or whether we're doing this as a conference. It doesn't matter. It's the same. We just have to have those pieces in place. And Urban Edge Network and HBCU League Pass Plus created a system for us to be able to play the game. And, you know, an opportunity to level the playing field. We got the same footprint as the SWAC and the SEC. Like, and when you look at it from a social media standpoint, a guy that I know very well, Lamar Tyler, he's a business guru. I joined his mastermind, did some work with him. He did a book called Social Media Like the Gatekeepers Are Gone. Like, if you can figure out how to monetize your own self, then you don't honestly need all this other stuff. We just have to partner with people who understand that. I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to connect with Hardy. And Hardy, if you don't mind me saying, we make this joke. He reached out to me probably like 2 years ago, and I was like, I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know.
That's right.
He tried to give me a side of NDA. I was like, ooh, NDA. I can't talk to you, and I got a side of NDA.
That's right. You remember that, huh? Okay.
I will never forget. I was like, I talked to him before, but then he asked me about NDA, and I was like, yeah, it sounds like a scam. I ain't gonna talk to him. I mean, can we be honest, right? Can we be honest?
No, it happens. Hey, listen, it happens. Listen, I always tell people I'm dark skinned black, so I've learned. When you're dark skinned, it start off with he's a scammer first, and then they go, wait a second, why are you giving me so much money? I'm like, because I can't spend it on myself. Jesus. But no, Scott, I hope you see why we were attracted to this particular conference. Nothing against the other ones by any means. I'm just saying, because she understood that piece of that, okay, this is a piece I don't know. And when we explained it to her, she goes, oh, and then she put it with what she knew.
Yes.
And then to another level. What I'm finding is we, particularly in this space, and don't get offended when I say this, but I got to say it this way. We're so busy fighting each other, critiquing each other, that it confused me that others could walk in and rip you off. I understood that. I was like, what make you think that guy is trying to help you? He's the one who put you in this situation in the first place. And then he created a system where only they could play. Well, if they're the only ones that can play, they can pay you anything they want to pay you.
Come on.
Because there's no competition. That's the fundamentals of business. You must have competition. Somebody asked me, well, are you upset that HBCU Gold came into space? I said, absolutely not. In fact, let me go get 3 more. Because it's going to drive up the price of doing business with all of you, if you do it correctly.
If we do it correctly.
But now you see why we partnered with her. Thank you for your leadership, Commissioner.
Always. Thank you so much, Dr. Kiki Barnes. Listen, if you guys want to go check them out, you can check all her schools out on the HBCU League Pass Plus.
Hey, if y'all look, y'all go to On Demand on our network and go watch the basketball championship. It's gonna be some of the best ball.
Yes.
It's on 4K. You can see it. I got an 85-inch, y'all, in my house.
Right.
Man, y'all, it's pristine. Like, go check it out, okay?
Go Tougaloo. Them guys are good, by the way, if y'all don't know.
Hey, go watch Tougaloo today. Tougaloo and Russ are vying to go to the top 16 for the NAIA National Tournament. So please go support our teams.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Kiki Barnes. Thank you for your time. All right, listen, guys, we'll take a quick commercial break. And coming up next, we got the one and only Coach Hugh Jackson in the building. All right, stay tuned with Scotty and Offscript.
Invest in ourselves. We're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
You just gave us all a brand new iPhone 13.
We've been customers for years.
We got iPhone 13s too. Switched 2 minutes ago, literally right before this.
iPhone 13 on us on any unlimited plan for every customer, with plans starting at just $35. All on the network more people rely on.
And we are back. You are watching Scotty Behind the Numbers with HBCU League Pass plus GCAC Commissioner, as well as the guest we're about to bring in, current head coach of Grambling, Coach Hugh Jackson.
What's going on, man?
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
I'm doing great. You got my guy on with you.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing, Coach? Listen. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
No. Go right ahead.
Oh, Coach Hugh Jackson. Listen. I'm glad you had a chance to come on, Coach, because I don't know that people understand the true partnership that your program and Urban Edge and HBCU League Pass truly has. And I would like for you to get on here and tell your side of what Urban Edge has done for your program. I have a couple things that we can bring up, but just some of the investments that have been put into Grambling by Urban Edge Network. Can you speak on that, Coach?
I sure can. Urban Edge Network and Hardy have been just outstanding partners of our athletic teams and programs. You know, obviously I've known Hardy now for over a year, and the guy is enthusiastic and he has a wealth of knowledge, you know, when it comes to breaking the barriers of Blacks being left out of the conversation of the major media markets. And I just think he is just phenomenal at doing what he's done, you know, out the gate in February. I just go back and think through things. Last year, he put Grambling in the spotlight where no other HBCU ever was even expected to be when you talk about the Super Bowl of NASCAR, the Daytona 500. Because I was there. So I know what Hardy does. You know, I've watched him work hand in hand with me, you know, with getting the Grambling branding, you know, for football through my vision of putting a wrap around the field just for privacy, you know, for our practices and for our players. I mean, that's kind of unheard of, you know, and that's something that was needed. I watched this man get his suits. I watched this man get his Microsoft tablets that when I said, Hardy, I need to make sure that we can teach these young men football at a higher level. He said, Hugh, I got something for you. Wow. So when you just think about these things, and we talk about facilities, and you have so many things on there that you just put out there. When you talk about facilities, you know, they're no different than any other universities. We all need to be kept up to date, you know, with technology and all those things. But Urban Edge Network, you know, they have worked with corporate partners to assist us in getting our facilities better. And that's truly what it's all about. And then when you talk about the HBCU League Pass, come on now. What they've brought is just an incredible amount of opportunity to fans from Grambling and families and everybody to be able to see us in any market at any time when we're playing football. That's kind of unheard of to me. So that's just some of the things that I wanted to talk about that I know that they've done at a high level for us to give us a chance to continue to move forward.
Now wait a second, Scott. I just want you to know, first of all, Coach, I'm very uncomfortable with all these good things people have been saying because I'm used to people calling me all kinds of names and scammer and salesman and all.
Oh man!
Oh, wait a second, I just slow down a little bit, make them think I did something bad. But I tease Coach, just so y'all know, I've been trying to get Coach to run the wing tee. So whenever I come in to Grambling, I put my little wing tee play on his board, and he lets me. And so so if y'all see him go to double wing one day, that's my play. I want y'all to know it. But Coach, thank you for everything, sir.
You're not getting any quarterbacks doing the wing tee. That ain't happening.
But you know what? We're going to get some of Hardy's opportunities if we run this league, you know.
Hey, Coach, the NIL program and has been a huge thing in college football. I mean, it's really revolutionized, you know, what college football in the landscape it looks like right now. And HBCU schools don't really get to play in that arena. But how has the partnership with HBCU League Pass helped you kind of close the gap on some of the, we won't say Power Five because we know that's different type of money, but just a group of five and just the high level FCS schools?
Right. And you said it. I mean, it is a different type of money, but when we can say that we have an opportunity for all of our scholarship athletes to have a chance to receive an NIL deal, that's unheard of. I don't think there's anybody else that are playing in that space like we are. And, you know, again, for a student athlete, I don't care if it's $70, $100, $200 to $5,000, any amount of money helps. And so it's been great, this partnership so far, and hopefully it's going to just continue to grow.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, Scotty, I was going to say with regards to that too. Let me tell you something. I'm always a little embarrassed that we don't pay NFL, NBA rates. And I tease coach all the time, like, man, no kid cares about getting $2,000, do they? And then come to find out, yeah, like whoa. So I shared with somebody, and this kind of goes to the mentality that I really want all the HBCUs, all the fans, all the audience to adapt to, is that there's nothing wrong with an HBCU. Mm-hmm. You got Hugh Jackson on this line, and I met with Coach Simmons about 2 weeks ago from FAMU, and I'm going to mention a name that we ain't supposed to probably mention on the show, but that's how we met Coach Prime, is through Coach Hugh. Because Coach Prime was gleaning all the time from Coach Hugh, and I don't know if you remember, Coach, we were at the Daytona 500. I was sitting next to you, and I kept hearing him say, Urban Edge Network. Urban Edge Network. And I was like, who are you talking to? And he was talking to Dion. And Dion got on the line and shared some things with me, and I shared some things back with him. And it kind of illuminated to me the whole thing of saying, oh my God, I don't think the HBCU marketplace understands their worth and understands their power and understands that all this difference is they tried to put us in a box that says, I'm going to make sure Coach Hugh doesn't have the same accoutrements as LSU. Because if I let him get the same accoutrements as LSU, Coach Hugh going to take that 4- and 5-star kid. And if he starts to take the 4- and 5-star kid, and oh, by the way, now you've evened the playing field. Because the money goes where the talent is.
Absolutely.
And as soon as we as Black folk understand that. I saw your post the other day, Coach, where you're talking about having Black coaches say, man, stop fighting to go coach over there with them. Come on over here. Come on.
I wanted to touch on that, Coach. I think that was a huge statement that you put out in regards to having Black coaches and Black young coaches come back into the space or to come back home. What was your unction to do that, and what have you seen in the landscape of coaching that makes you say, hey, these young Black coaches, come on back to HBCUs and give you opportunity?
Because the landscape has told us that. When you look at the history of the National Football League, I think it's been 104 years now, 27 minority head coaches in the history of the league. I don't know the data in college football, but it can't be much better. And when these opportunities come up, we never really get a fair shake. When you look at the HBCU space, and there are some tremendous coaches. And when I made that statement, I want people to understand, I'm not saying come in and replace the coaches that's here. Come help the coaches that are here. Because there are some tremendous coaches coaching in the HBCU space. So instead of fighting that, come on over here, bring your talent over here, continue to hone your craft if you're a young coach, and do everything you can to put yourself in the best position for your future.
I like that. Now, Coach Jackson, we know coming in your second year, where do you think, just walking in, because you've come from the highest level.
Let's go, baby.
You can tell he's ready, man.
Where do you, if the partnership was not with Urban Edge, what would the Grambling program look like in its place? Just you, just Grambling, without Urban Edge and the engine behind HBCU League Pass. What would you have to work with, honestly?
Oh boy, it wouldn't be. I don't even really want to have that discussion. I don't have to think about that. I just know what was needed, and the man is sitting right here that helped me get it jump started, and really changing the game for us here at Grambling State University and in this HBCU space. So I'm fearful of even looking back of what it might have been, because I don't think it would have been very good. But I just know where we're headed now, and I'm so excited about where we are, and we have the potential to go.
All right, Coach, 2 more questions. I'm going to let you go.
But hold on, before you ask that, just so y'all know, audience, I did not set this up. I don't know what this is. I don't know if there's somebody. I don't know if my ex-wife is going to jump on the screen here in a second or something. I do not like all these compliments, but go ahead.
Coach, how would you, if you had an opportunity to talk to other head coaches and other ADs, how would you have them implement what you have done at Grambling? Because at the end of the day, we want to see the whole landscape grow, because when the whole landscape grows, all the profile, it says all ties rises all boats, high tide rises all boats. So how would you have them implement Urban Edge or HBCU League Pass for other institutions?
No different than what we've been through. I think the first thing people need to do is sit down with Hardy and his team, so they can truly understand the value that they bring to the table for our conference. I think that's first and foremost. And then really have a vision and a plan of what it is that they need to help move forward. And then let Hardy do what Hardy does, because he's really good at doing it, him and his team. And I guarantee you it would rise our conference like you've never seen before. But you just said it. We all need to be in.
Yeah.
Everybody need to be in. We need to be joined at the elbows and make sure that we move this thing forward, because it will happen faster if we do it that way.
I like that. And last question, Coach, you got to talk a little football.
Come on.
You got some new blood in. You got Miles Carley. You got you got a new offensive coordinator with Tony.
Yes.
What are you looking to do in this next season that's going to propel you from that 3-8 of last year to now, fighting for the SWAC West championship?
You know what was great for me is being able to be in this conference this past year. And I hate to say it this way, and I don't want to say, Graham fam, please understand this when I say this. Getting my butt kicked up over my shoulders and watching, I got a chance to see exactly where we needed to go and what we needed to do. And so I set out to do that in every area, whether it was get a new offensive coordinator, whether it was bring in other coaches, whether it was get bigger, stronger, faster players on our roster as fast as we could. And that's what we've done.
Well, I can assure you he's a lot more intense.
Yeah, that was last year. You said get bigger, faster, stronger. I'm sorry, that was on me. My stuff cut.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And I think we've accomplished that.
I like it.
Scotty, he's a lot more intense this year, just so you know. He's when he calls me, it's a little bit more like, I need this now. And so we try to but he's educated me, particularly on things like gut health. Just the smoothies, making sure the guys are eating right. Because I would have never thought of such a thing. Coach, I think Coach and I, because we're probably spoiled, I call it spoiled, but apparently it's natural. They were on a bus to somewhere. I don't know where we drove. And I said, did you drive? Y'all rode a bus here? And he said, yes. I said, oh, that ain't never happening again. I said, that's, we're going to fly where we going. So, all those kind of things educated me on performance enhancements and the things that people call it spoiled now. But I think it's what the student athletes deserve if you're going to be playing at a high level, being coached by guys at a high level. So we give him carte blanche to say, whatever you need, let's go to work. And the corporations are ready, because remember, now Grambling has all the tools that a corporate sponsor would want. They got LED signage now, and we just finished phase 1. The place is going to look crazy in a minute. I can't tell you because Dr. Scott, VP of Athletics, will kill me if I say it's too much, but it's going to be completely bonkers in there next season when you see some of the signage that we're adding on. Dr. Scott has a vision himself. He's taught me a lot about Title IX. If we're doing something for the football team, hey, make sure you take care of the soccer team too. That's where the softball field renovations came from in soccer. In fact, when I saw my first soccer game, I was floored. I was like, that's the stadium, but I tell people I'm kind of weird when I come to some of these things. So I make sure that all these things are in a place where everybody's got the tools that they need to do their job at a high level. Because don't ask to go to the next level when you don't have a third meal for the football team.
Come on.
Or for the athlete. Don't expect the guy to be working out all day and he ain't got no vitamins and he doesn't have his gut health right. Those are things that corporations, if you're going to use my product, I'm going to charge you to do that, because I'm endorsing your product. There's a value to that, if that makes sense.
It does. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Got to get the spring stuff going. Thank you so much for your time. Wish you all the luck for next coming season.
Thank you. Appreciate both of you, men. And Hardy, see you soon.
He said, see you soon. All right, listen, we're going to take another quick commercial break, guys. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit with Mr. Pelt, diving deep into what their business model is, how they do what they do, and what did FAMU do to drop the ball in regards to some of the stuff that they could have gotten. All this and more on Behind the Numbers with Scotty.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, We are Black beyond measure.
You just gave us all a brand new iPhone 13.
We've been customers for years.
We got iPhone 13s too. Switched 2 minutes ago, literally right before this.
iPhone 13 on us on any unlimited plan for every customer, with plans starting at just $35. All on the network more people rely on.
And listen, we're back. We're here with co-founder Hardy Pelt of HBCU Lead Pass Plus. We just got finished talking with GCAC Commissioner. We just got finished talking with Coach Hugh Jackson. Now, Mr. Pelt, want to dive deep into some of these numbers of your investments with some of your partners and things like that. We spoke a little bit about it with the commissioner as well as Coach Hugh Jackson, but you know, you have the softball field renovations, you have the internship, you have your partnerships with other leagues and companies. But I want to get to the total amount with Stillman, new basketball court, completely funding the volleyball team, practice gear, uniforms, core equipment. Could you say for everything, just through these programs of which your partnership, you've given what, north of $3.5 million?
You know, they never let me confirm anything, but that would be okay to say.
That would be okay to say.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be in jeopardy if you said that. Yes,
I appreciate you. But now we all understood when you first got into this space, you had a partnership with FAMU. It fell through. They canceled. We already know the story behind that. But I don't think people knew of a deal that you had in place right before it fell through. Could you explain the partnership that you were trying to plan with Fanatics as well as FAMU?
Yeah, let me back up a little bit, because I think sometimes people think they know what the story was, but we didn't do a deal with FAMU as a school. We did a deal with their rights holder called Peak Sports. As you know, Mr. Courtney Gaucher was the athletic director at the time, and he kind of protected us from all the other stuff. So at Grambling, for example, I know President Gallo and again, Dr. Scott, and then of course the advancement folks, and worked closely with the board. We didn't really do that on the FAMU side. We went, Courtney directed us directly to his rights holder, Peak Sports. People just never mentioned the company for some strange reason, but that's who we did the deal with. And as a part of that, because of the success, I forgot I was just showing you my Grambling card just came in yesterday.
I got you. I'm gonna blow you up. You good? Let me get you right here. You go. There you go.
Just came in yesterday. That was a part of the deal. And so when we did the licensing deal, we go through CLC, which owns the logo rights, if you will, to negotiate those deals on behalf of FAMU. They approved, signed off on everything, and we did the car. Now, something internally happened. I use the word something because I don't really know what happened, other than the fact that someone inside was not happy about something. As a part of that, though, if you go on Fanatics right now, you can order that car from Grambling University, which, of course, that money's royalties go back to the school. Tremendous deal. So as a part of that, Fanatics is willing to pay you up front for the back end royalties, because it was such a unique opportunity and so crazy that they were like, oh my God, we want to jump on this right now. And so even from Stillman to the Norfolk State car we did and other things like that, they were willing to pay up front. And again, I can't confirm the number, but I'm going to just say this. Someone told me that FAMU's athletic budget is about $8 to $12 million, if I'm not mistaken. What was on the table was more than that. How about that?
Wow. More than their annual athletic budget.
Based on what I was told the budget is, it was more than that. Yes.
Now, when you're saying up front, so they would have gave you that money just like, hey, like for us to do the deal, here is the annual budget for FAMU. That's what you're pretty much saying.
Basically, yeah. In a schematic world, yes. And not, because I always, the conversations I have, particularly within the HBCU world with the HBCU audience, I always try to make sure they understand that corporations already know your value. Even if you don't, they do. And they do based off $1.8 trillion that black people spend all day. Remember, we're supposed to be in a recession as a company right now. White folk didn't put their money in the bank. They ain't spending money. Black folk are. We buying these cars at 32%. We still signing up for credit cards and all kinds of stuff. And corporations know that. But they didn't try to get on the back end and say, hey, here's what we're going to do. We ain't going to pay y'all what you're worth because nobody in the room knows what you're worth. So I'm going to make up something for you.
Wow.
We try to change that pendulum by saying, you're going to treat the HBCU just like you treat the other schools. And therefore, you don't have to miss any steps in your contract. So, for example, if you have an apparel deal and you don't have a retail partner with you, you're just a consumer. That's how they make their money back. So people ask me, well, how come they do the deals with HBCUs the way they do it? So Colorado, let's use as an example, Colorado get a check from Nike and they get all the stuff they want for free. By the black school, they'll come back to you and say, now you got to spend $107,000, for example. And if you don't make it, you still cut me a check for what you didn't make. And the more money you spend, I'll give you a discount. And then people say, well, why do they do that? They say, well, because they don't take it retail. Because that's where they're going to make their money at. So they use you, HBCU, as the customer. It's no different if you went to Kohl's too many times. They get those Kohl's discount bucks or whatever.
The 30% off.
And the more you spend, the more they give you. It's the same deal that they're doing. The difference is that when we try to come to the table, we come with a retail partner with us. So now the manufacturer goes, oh, I see how I'm going to make my money, Fanatic says. Oh, I see. I got it. Y'all going to sell a lot of these. Well, I'm just pay you up front for it.
Okay, so it's literally the school would get royalties because of the licensing deal that they've already signed with said CLC or Peak Sports. Right. So that's a natural. It's no different than if somebody was selling Jackson State merch or Alabama A&M. A licensed retailer is going to have to give the royalties back to the school regardless of the fact.
That's correct. That is correct. So the deal would have never hurt them in any way, shape, or form. I just think someone thought it was somehow going to hurt them, and we just never knew who that was. So,
okay, so essentially, you're getting double payment because now you're getting the upfront payment from Fanatics as well as you're getting the royalty payment on the back end because they have your licensing deal or your licensing rights and stuff like that. So they have to pay your royalty.
Yes, that's correct. And CLC should be doing that anyways. It's just they have so much going on. A lot of times they kind of forget those HBCU clients, but we remind them gently that they should be at the forefront of negotiating these deals anyway.
Now, let's talk about your business model of being in the media budget and not in the donation budget. I think a lot of people get this misconstrued because all these entities are 501c3 nonprofit organizations, but you don't fall in that classification. What is the differentiating of why you get, a piece of this, 1.6 trillion or $300 billion media industry, and these conferences cannot?
Well, I always tell my partner Todd, stop saying all them numbers, because then black folk, you know how we do, they get mad, like, that ain't for us. I'm like, well, yeah, it is. But they set up a system to where if you can't measure or if you can't, if they don't have the reporting and the measurements of the impressions, then they'll never put you in the media budget. It's just that simple. So, for example, somebody might say, well, we had 30,000 people at so-and-so Classic. Well, that's an event. That's why if you notice, ESPN created a whole new department called ESPN Events.
Yeah.
Because that's taking care of what I call the donation budget. But the ESPN, the media company, sells the commercials to the event. So all we did was basically use the same model and said, now I'm going to go to the underserved. I always call it the Tyler Perry effect. Remember, most people don't realize Tyler Perry had $35 million when he went to Hollywood. Absolutely. He was selling things out of his trunk and the Chitlin little plays. Well, that's because he created his own audience. So then when he went to Hollywood, the white guys told him, black people don't go to the movies. And he said, yes, they do. They just don't watch what you got. And they said, well, really? Well, show us. And that's how he then created his own movies. And those same people that went to see him in those plays start going into the movies. Well, it's the same concept with an HBCU. We just proved to you that the GCAC basketball tournament almost drew 1 million viewers. And that's because their entire audience base of all their member institutions tuned in because they could finally see it.
Absolutely.
Now, as we grow this, I think we can double it, triple it next year as we continue to move. And now I have a better idea of some of the things that for activation, for on presence and on camera. Now we can go into another level. Well, every conference can do that. Every HBCU pieces can do that. As I explained to someone the other day, always understand an HBCU game is more valuable than any PWI game.
Wow. Oh, wow. Why, now, why?
Not even close. It's because the entertainment factor of the band. You just saw a coach to be named, not to be named, just told his own band, hey, can y'all do this right here? Because it's the value of the entire event. The HBCUs are for more than football, more than basketball. I had the folks watching us, I hope they don't mind me saying, from Nissan, watching one of the games, and the first thing the lady said was, are they going to do a step show? And I said, why do you think they got to do a step show? She goes, because that is great. And sure enough, the camera panned. I think the cues or somebody were on the court. She thought that was incredible. That's the value you bring. It just needs to be monetized. And the only way it can be monetized, you have to have the accoutrements of the system. If you don't have it, they dismiss it. And that's why they've been paying under what they should.
Now, let me ask you this, because and hopefully you can explain this to the people. You have the SEC, you have the Big Ten, and they're all not 501c3s. They are nonprofit entities. Mm-hmm. How are they able to garner such large payments to their conferences when we're still stuck in the donation budget? How is that working for them?
Yeah, good question. Two things. One, there's a perceived value when they walk in the door. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, the fundamentals are followed. So in other words, if Ohio State was getting ready to play Northwestern, you're going to see a week of promo. You're going to see radio commercials, online video, displays, and commercials. They don't really do that for the HBCUs. So in other words, if Benedict was playing South Carolina State, you might catch it if you start on social media and then tune in. Because the guys won't then say, here, check out this game that day. That reinforces that HBCUs can't draw an audience. I just showed you 1 million views on a little streaming company that everybody thinks is a hustle. Well, guess what would happen if the big boys did the same thing? It's your audience. They going to go wherever you tell them to go, as long as they can. First of all, it's quality picture. And number two, and more importantly, it's easy to get to. So we're in 303 million devices right now. So really our numbers are kind of low. We should be doing about 3 million viewers a week instead of 1 million. But at the end of the day, that's the fundamentals that need to be followed. So when the Big Ten, the SEC, all those guys walk in, they walk in with saying, I'm bringing you value to build your business, and it's worth X. The way it looks, I'm just saying like that, the way it looks right now, that conversation not being had. So for example, ESPN publicly announced $5.1 billion in the fourth quarter. But they built that ESPN business off the backs of the Black folk. So even if you lost your mind and said, okay, they don't want to give me $1 billion, at least say, well, give me $2 per subscriber that we bring into the table. You still at $50-60 million minimum, if that makes sense. So it's following the fundamentals of negotiation in a lot of cases. But if you do not know what to say, if you do not know how to say it, and if you don't understand your value before you walk in, unfortunately, you'll end up with something that is negative towards you. And that's important, y'all, because in my opinion, they have you on a going out of business strategy right now. So if you continue down this path, you don't have to worry about fighting with Scotty or me or anybody else about HBCUs, because they will swoop you in. Look at, I think it's Texas is now just swooping the schools in. I want to say Delaware State has more white folk than black folk at this point. There's a movement going on, and we have to wake up. That's what we're fighting right now in the civil rights movement. We are fighting to say, at least give you a fair share of what is deserved based on what we're bringing to the table. And I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Absolutely. Now, a couple more questions. The Nielsen.
Yes.
What? I know I'm gonna get the Nielsen guy on later, probably in the week and things like that.
Yes.
But what has Nielsen shown the value of the HBCU community and culture based off their reports and what you've seen?
Whoever John is, that's a great comment, John, because Nielsen reached out to us and gave us a great deal to actually begin to study the HBCUs. They're studying it. As we're doing our deals, as we're doing our promotions, even our in-store retail stuff, they're now gathering the information because it hadn't really been done. And like I said, that's when I use the word there's a perceived value. Well, everybody knows all this stuff. You know, I was completely shocked to learn, for example, that 60% of the HBCU fan base is women.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Freaked me out. I was like, what are you talking about? I think you guys are wrong. And then somebody reminded me, no. You got to remember 60% of the enrollment in HBCUs is even women. So it made common sense at that point. Now, the reason why that's important, I'll use a company like an Old Spice, a brand like Old Spice. If you notice, they've changed their commercials. Now, it's supposed to be for men. But if you notice, they have the black women on there talking about how good it smells and all that. And that's because the women do most of the shopping, so studies say. And so they're saying, I'm trying to attract that black woman to come in and get Old Spice for her man. That's how powerful the black woman dollar is. Well, if 60% of my audience is black woman at HBCU, I'm way more valuable to anybody than even the SEC at that point, because I'm getting targeted customers that can buy my product.
That's real. Now, you know, we've talked offline, and I hope you're okay if I share this, is just that you said you could fix the SWAC and the MEAC's issues over a summer, give you a year, and you could fix the issues of monetarily of them being where they're at. How would you go about doing that?
Well, again, just like I just said, number one, the deals need to be commensurate with the value. Number two, and more importantly, the value needs to be tied to again, I call them accoutrements, the accoutrements that a media person is looking for. So all of my schools need to have LED signage tonight, as quickly as you can get it.
That's funny you said that, because I was just at Tulane and they put nobody on that sideline because they said y'all Bamas ain't blocking none of our signage. It was on. It was on both sides. It was absolutely. Yep.
That's correct. That's just the normal stuff.
Yeah.
But like I went to one school that I'm a big fan of, by the way. I'm a big fan of the school. And I walked in, and unfortunately, if you walk into a game with me or you walk into a grocery store with me, I look at everything totally different, because I look at everything like real estate and where stuff is. And this school had no signage. And it bothered me to the point I couldn't even enjoy the game, because I was like, oh my God, you know, but half of it is just making sure you have the proper equipment so that you can participate in the media conversation. It changes the price point, is what I'm saying. It gets you out of, here's, a matter of fact, I was talking to school a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I bet you're getting about 10 grand from McDonald's. And they said, yeah. I said, dude, we get almost triple that for a 2-week campaign in media. And they went, oh. I said, because you got a donation. We got media buy.
Got you.
And it's a totally different thing. So we would just convert everything over to media very quickly. Signage, controlling the inventory that we have, and then making sure we're enhancing the promotional opportunities to demonstrate ROI on the back end. The one thing they always going to keep away from you is ROI, because Black people buy stuff. Mm-hmm. And if I'm trying to devalue you, I'm going to keep away from anything that shows that you have value. So I'll say you don't have ratings. Well, nobody cares about ratings. Remember, they do upfronts. And upfront means before anything shows, they end up buying all their inventory. So they ain't talking about ratings. They just made it up. They just made it up so you would say it and say, well, here's why we have to do it this way, because we don't have any ratings. Well, if they don't put you on TV, how are you going to get ratings? That's simple.
Let me ask you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the value of the SWAC? And I want to talk. Let's talk about the SWAC. What is the value of the SWAC with their media rights? What would you have if you were in that position? Now, I don't even want to do that. What is the value of the SWAC's content? I don't care about the MEAC. What is the value of their media rights, and how have they been exploited by ESPN?
Well, number one, I don't want to talk about anybody specific. Believe it or not, I love the commissioner. I don't know why everybody thinks I don't like the guy. We actually know each other from way back. I love the commissioner. But let's just say this. Each conference should be a minimum of $500 million each.
Whoa.
Minimum.
because of the entertainment aspect outside of football. That's why you have a higher value, because they give you a circle event. You know what I'm saying? The pageantry, the dancers, the band, and the football.
We call it marketing 360. Yes.
Wow.
You are the only ones that have that. So, for example, Procter & Gamble showed us about, I'd say 15 to 20 products that Black people, what they call over-index, which means over 125%, they're going to buy it.
Wow.
At least 20 of their products. Okay. Now, guess what you have more than Colorado has? Black people.
Black people.
That's right.
So why would I not spend more when I know you over-index?
Right.
That's just common sense.
That's just common sense.
That's my audience.
That's right.
I'm going to put more money into it because
right.
you have the higher rates. You already over-index, and we know you buy. We know you buy.
I wish I could tell you I was some sort of genius. I am not. That is how it works. It's just what happened was somewhere down the line, the HBCUs got taken out of the business of marketing and into the business of events and these other things. So, for example, when I was at the Warriors, a guy wanted us to move one of our games for preseason to San Diego. He was going to call it an NBA Classic. And he came and he said, hey, can y'all move this game? So I went to my CFO and I said, hey, how much do we normally make during a game? And he said, well, in the preseason, we make about $1.5 million. I said, okay, 5 times cash flow. That's what I told the guy it was going to cost. He said, okay, fine. I said, I need half my money right now before we sign. I need other half 30 days before we get on the bus. We're going to go down and visit the facility. We're going to make sure you got practice, you got the food, and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So I was shocked to learn that a lot of these classics, first of all, the school had to sell the tickets for the promoter. So I was going, okay, explain this to me. How's this working? Then it was half the schools were leaving in a deficit because they had to pay their fees and stuff to come. I was like, whoa, okay, wait a second. Something's wrong here. How did this get in here? Just the fundamentals of the business deals were off. Therefore, you lost money. Not that not necessarily that the game didn't make money. Not even that the promoter didn't have money. It's just
the promoter wouldn't do it.
That's correct.
It didn't make money. So there's no play.
That's right. He's conducting his business. It's just somebody wasn't looking out for the school, if that makes sense.
Now, there was word on the street is that there was a said classic game that's pretty popular in a certain city that another network was interested in taking over said classic in a particular area that was shot down because of the existing relationship that they've already had with said other media company that wouldn't have provided the amount of money that the other new network that was trying to come in. How often do you see that in this business, in the HBCU space, where there are other entities outside of the basic norms that we all know with 4 letters that other entities are trying to get into this space, but they're not allowed because of the ongoing relationship? They're like, well, this is what we know, and this is what, when the other entities are trying to pay more money.
Yeah, and that's why, again, I spend most of my time getting, criticized and yelled at, because I'm trying to educate us on just the fundamentals. As soon as you understand the fundamentals, the scale's going to fall off your eyes. And you're going to say, oh, I see. I don't have to be on network X, Y, Z, because it's my audience. As long as I have the way they can tune in and watch it, and it look quality, don't get me wrong, I don't want a bunch of trash. But remember, the schools are already producing their own stuff already. And the reason why I bring it up is because when we started this company, ladies and gentlemen, as crazy as I'm about to say to you, at least the first 5 phone calls I got with the first 5 brands, they all said, how y'all gonna do this? And I said, what do you mean? And it was like, y'all got cameras? And I was like, well, it's 2021. Yes, Black people can buy cameras. What are you asking me? And it's because somehow the marketplace had even become conditioned to say, Black people can't do this. Now, you can come watch the game. You can come spend your money. You can buy my merch. But that's what I was telling you. That's the reason why you can't walk into a Target and pick up a replica Stillman jersey, sideline gear from Coach Jackson. It's because those reps still have to go sell it too. They have to go into the Target and say, I need to put Grambling stuff right here. I need to put Florida Memorial stuff right here. And they don't want to do it. So I just do it myself because I understand the fundamentals of what's going on. And the HBCUs can do that as well if they understand the fundamentals.
So you're saying that HBCUs can have replica jerseys of said players. They can have, sideline gear of said players for their individual schools. And we all understand they over-index for paraphernalia. We all know that. Listen, half of these Bamas in the chat probably aren't like 30 articles of their school paraphernalia. So we understand they over-index.
Yeah.
So the last question, Mr. Pelt, can you just give us the basic fundamentals of how this thing works? Like, 1, you can and cannot do this. 2, you can and cannot do this. So like I'll give you an example. So 1, you can tell a promoter that you want your game broadcast.
That's right.
Like that. So can you give us a list of just some basic fundamentals that you've experienced in your time here in this space that you're just like, this is wrong, you can do this? Because what it feels like is a lot of cops and civilians, right? Where they come up to you and say, give me your license. And you're like, well, I haven't done it. Give me your license. You're like, bro, that's against the law. Like, you can't. But you're so fearful and you don't know the law that you end up putting yourself in a predicament. Same thing if they come up to your car and say, I want to search your vehicle, you have to consent to that.
Yes.
And if you don't consent, then you're good. So that's why I kind of want to reverse engineer this thing to where it's like that, but for media. How do we break this thing down in the simplistic of the form of what these schools can and cannot do in the media space?
Well, again, like I said, first of all, that was the perfect example. is that do exactly what I did when I was at the Warriors and the guy wanted to move the game. First of all, find out how much you make at your home game already. And if you want to, just take a simple number like 5 times cash flow. So if you make $100,000 at the game, if the man ain't paying you at least $600,000, you might as well stay home. Number 2, make sure they pick up all the expenses. He asking you to move. Where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
It don't cost you nothing for the kid to get up or whatever. So they cover everything. And then get your money half up front and half 30 days out. If he ain't got it, God bless you. One of my NBA stories, we had a halftime performance by, I don't know if you heard this group, I might be too old for you, Tony.
Oh yeah, Anniversary. That's my jam right there.
Yeah, so they wanted to do one of our halftime shows, and they charged $50K. Okay, and so the guy comes in to get the money, and he insisted that we have cash, all hundreds. And he walked in the room. I'll never forget it. He walked in the room with 2 cash counters to count the money. To count the money. It wasn't no wiring. Don't be bringing me no checks.
That's a drug deal.
Right. I probably shouldn't even tell that story. But it was funny to me because he dictated the terms because we wanted them to perform.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I'm always going to recommend, if I get in trouble, I'm always in trouble, so it don't matter. Y'all get together with the band. Stop acting like it's church and state with the band. You need the band. The band needs you.
Come on.
Now we can put some extra money on that. That's some extra sauce. That's entertainment money now. That's unlimited. And when we go as a package, it's a pageantry. You should see. I wish I can't, but I wish I could record when I showed one of the brand managers for a very popular car. It was the Alabama State band was marching into the stadium, but it looked like a parade because there was so many people watching.
On the side, yeah.
Right? And so the chief investment officer said, "What parade is this?" And I said, "It's not. They're just marching to the field." And she goes, "Wait a second. This is a football game?" And I said, "Yes." They were so fascinated that when we came back with certain things, they were like, "Well, wait a second. What happened to that other stuff you were talking about?" So you have to streamline your business model to make sure everybody's included. That way everybody's eating and now you can charge more money.
Let me ask you this, because I remember when the NBA went to this model and all the players and all the fans were like, "Oh, we don't want advertising on the uniforms. We don't want that. We don't want that." Do you think that's a level of income that bands could do? Because I mean, just them marching into the field and just having a patch of a said company or a said logo, that could be a revenue stream for bands that they haven't even experienced or looked into.
Yeah, you have all those things. And again, I don't know what the NCAA or NAIA, for example, we were going to on Stillman's new volleyball uniforms, we were actually going to put a patch from a brand because it was their inaugural year.
Mm-hmm.
So to celebrate that we were able to fund that new program for them, we were going to put a patch on the back, but the NAI had a rule said you can't have anything back there. So other than being restricted, let me take it even a little further. We're in conversations right now about the bands that we work with, so Florida Memorial, for example, in Grambling, about basically making them into one big fashion show. So, for example, let's use an example, Gap. So Gap may have their new spring line coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the band marches in the new stuff.
Oh.
So now you've gone into that budget, but now I'm also putting you on TV or streaming. So I'm now in the media budget still, and I'm running a retail promotion back with in-app purchases saying, now come in and buy this because it was on the band. Something just as simple as that will change. It'll probably make you more than what half the schools make in 10 sponsorships.
Wow.
Together.
Wow. And people are going to buy that merchandise just because of the simple fact of what it is. Mr. Pelt, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your insight. If people are interested, if there's some school administrators that are as D2 and D3 or whatever, and they're interested in partnering or just hearing what you have to say, like Coach Jackson said, sitting down and talking to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, always reach out to us, info@urbanedgenetwork.net. info@urbanedgenetwork.net. Always love to talk to anybody. Contrary to belief, we really don't ever really approach anybody. The only person we ever approached, believe it or not, was Commissioner Barnes. Other than that, most of the time people call us because they want to know. And we have no problem sharing information. If you want us to assist you, we ready to do that as well. But we got to get informed on this. That's my biggest thing. Get the information, because once you get the information, you can always make appropriate decisions. But Scotty, thank you for this. This turned into like an infomercial, so I apologize. I don't want everybody to think we was doing this on purpose. I didn't even know what you were going to talk about. So I appreciate you. And y'all continue to pray for us that we keep growing. It's going to be some crazy stuff we're about to announce here over the summer as well.
I love it. All right, Mr. Pelt, I'll talk to you offline.
All right, sir.
All right, no problem. Hey, guys, listen. That is Behind the Numbers with the GCAC, with Coach Hugh Jackson and co-founder Hardy Pelt. Listen, I wanted to make sure that I touched every aspect of this thing because these are the two biggest brands that they have on their platform and who they partner with. And I wanted you to hear from the horse's mouth, right? I wanted you to hear from the horse's mouth what they were seeing from the partnership of HBCU League Pass, as well as what they were receiving from as well. All right, so let me see.
You are the only participant in the conference. All participants are muted.
So once again, if you guys want to call in and talk about what you heard and just some things like that, but now you have all the information. Now, what you do with it is on you. You know what I'm saying? What these administrators, what these people in the higher power do is on them, because remember, just like President Gallo has continued to stay their partnership and keep the partnership with Urban Edge, HBCU League Pass Plus, more schools can get in this boat, right? More schools can be a part of this partnership and line up and get some of this funding that has come down the pipeline. So, but I wanted you to hear from the horse's mouth. I wanted you to hear from people that are currently in the partnership. And listen, I mean, you heard it from Hugh Jackson just alone that he doesn't even want to think about, it's like when the church, when you think about the goodness of Jesus, when you think of the goodness of Jesus, let me stop. He didn't want to think back of what it would look like without HBCU League Pass, without Urban Edge being a partner because of the situation and stuff like that. JB, coming to you.
Scotty, I love this show, man. This is one of the best ones you've ever done.
Thank you, sir.
Now, the question I have is kind of a simple one, and I'm glad that he addressed my question about the Nielsen's rating piece. We hear a lot of people talk about paying us our worth and paying us what we deserve. Now, it's a combination, I think, of two things taking place. Either one, we have people who don't know how to negotiate our worth, or two, some numbers have been ran and we're not worth as much as we think we are. Because notice that HBCU Go deal, they've never really came up and said how much each school is getting. But that's another conversation for another day. His answer about the Nielsen ratings piece was stunning, because it's like, we're asking or we're saying that we demand all of these things, and you haven't even taken the time to see how many people are actually watching our product. How is that working, man?
Mm-hmm. How is that working?
Yeah. I mean, that's a question I have. And then the other things too, is that is that I think people are fixated on status, because you mentioned the class that they want to be on a certain channel. We as Black folks, and let's be frank about this, we as Black folks are very, very image-based. Like, you might get a better deal, say, on Tubi or on Freebie or on Apple or on Paramount, whatever, but we are fixated on having to be on ESPN or on NBC, no matter how much it costs us. And people say, okay, well, how come these networks aren't giving us better stuff? Why would they? If they know that you want to be there no matter what,
come on,
why should they try to up anything? Why should they try to fix or try to, quote unquote, pay us our fair value when, one, we haven't taken the time to investigate what our fair value actually is, two, the people who are negotiating don't know how to negotiate the fair value is, and three, we've already said that we're going to take whatever, because based upon our actions, by the way, we want to take whatever because we want to be seen on this network and its quote unquote tradition we've had for the last 30 or 40 plus years. So can we speak on that part, please?
I mean, it's nothing to speak on. You see it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's not even, the thing about it is, what's funny is that when you have the leverage, you still don't even put the leverage in play. Oh, give me $300 more $1,000. What? Listen, man, it's like this, right? It's like if your mom and dad was a millionaire, you're going to hold them accountable. You be like, hey, dad, let me get 100,000. Because you know they got it, right? So if Disney is a $1 billion corporation, listen, hey man, let me get 60 mil. 60 mil, you got it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to tell me you don't got it before me, because if I just come up and hey, can you give me 100,000? They're going to be like, 100,000? I don't know. No, I'm going for the juggernaut. I'm like, hey, let me get 60 mil. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but how many got it. Yeah, but how many of us are afraid to even have that conversation? How many people are afraid to ask because they think we're going to walk away?
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. But hey, appreciate the call though, JB, man. Thank you so much. Okay. Hey, man, it was a story that Mr. Campbell told me about a old man, and he would old salesman, and he would bring a grenade, right? He would bring a grenade to his meetings, and he would put the grenade on the table, and then the guy would be like, the grenade's not real. And he'll be like, pull the pin. Like, you got to have some cojones. When you making deals, when you doing big things, you got to stand on, you can't walk into a meeting afraid. He also said, Mr. Campbell also said this to me, and I thought this was right. He said, white people walk into a room expecting to succeed, expecting to get whatever they came. Black people are hopeful, right? Are hopeful. Hey, I hope I get this. I hope I get. No, you got to walk into it with exceeding expectations of law. Like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to come and get what I got because I believe in what I'm bringing. Monty, coming to you.
Hey, what's going on, Scotty? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's good, Monty?
Hey, man, great interview. So one thing I learned that Grambling may didn't have a good season last year, but they damn sure beat everybody else in business.
Talk to him. Talk to him. Because
and so it goes back to that question, and I hate to bring this up, but Coach Prime said that about these HBCU traditions, and it's traditions for what? Like you said, if let's say if someone came to approach the Bayou Classic about moving that from NBC to a whole nother network, our people wouldn't do it. And they may say, well, no, we'll give you this amount of money. And it's funny, like when you don't know your value and someone's coming and offering you a lot of money, the first thing some of our people do is think it's a scam. When this brother broke down, they were negotiating and getting money and deals up front. So it's not like, well, no, I'm promising this. No, you about to get this on the front end.
Yeah.
You know,
and
but when you don't have the right people, go ahead.
And a little bit on the back end. Go ahead.
Right. But when you don't have the right people sitting down, and it's just funny, people always think something to scam when you just don't know what the hell you're doing. Be a good leader and put the right people in place. There's a story I once heard. My mentor told me that Henry Ford was sitting down with some people, and they said, well, you're not an engineer. And he said, well, I don't have to be because I got 100 engineers that work for me.
That's real. That is real. Hey, appreciate the call, though, Monty. Hey, listen. You guys can clown Grambling all you want. Oh, Grambling went 3-8. All right. But what I'm looking at is Grambling got air. They flew everywhere. That's number one. They just got a new set of football pads. That's number two. They got Microsoft Surface Pros for everybody on the team. That's number three. They got football signage. They got an NIL program. They got funding for a new weight room, new locker rooms that are going up pretty soon. So, yeah, Southern, you might have backdoored your way to a SWAC championship, but I ain't seen no signage on your field. I ain't seen no digital signage on your field. Yeah, Allcore, you might have won 6 championships, but you owe a bill to Adidas. They was keeping cliques away from you. You couldn't even pay your debts. So what we talking about right now? Because at the end of the day, going 3-8, somebody got to lose. Somebody gots to lose. So it ain't that. But if I get all of this for going 3-8, sign me up for 3-8. Sign me up for 3-8 if I get all this and some. All right. Bridges coming to you.
Yo, Scotty, what's up with you, man? Great interview, bro.
Well, thank you so much, B. Appreciate you, bro.
You're welcome. My thing is this, bro. Just for me personally, I felt like I was back in college. Like, just the way how y'all was talking and conversating and stuff like that. Like, it's stuff that we still have to learn about these things that we think we know everything, but we truly don't. We need to sit down and learn these things.
Yeah.
Just like we have a problem. Black people just in general have a problem with money. And we need to learn these numbers, the value and what we can get out of the value and what the value can bring to us and for generations after generations after generations. Man, we need to literally sit down and learn this stuff. Like, literally, I felt like I was in a college class just looking at this and learning. But at the end of the day, is those jokers, they got job openings. I got degrees. They're looking for something. Hey, I sign up real quick now.
Hey, let me. You my guy. Text me offline. I'm gonna see what I can do for you.
All right, bro. Peace.
All right, no problem. But I've said this though. See, this is the thing that I have a problem with, right? You heard Hugh Jackson when he said, "Hey, we all need to be a part of this. We all need to link elbows." But you know what comes for that? We all need to disseminate the information together. You know why Grambling is not sharing this? Because they don't want everybody to catch up to them. If I'm being honest, if I was Dr. Scott, I'd leave you Bemas in the dust too. But that's not the right answer. There needs to be HBCU conferences, not led by Dr. McNugget, because you don't want the blind leading the blind, but having why do you think people have master classes? Why do you think people have these conferences to where they're teaching other people? We need to do the same for our own people. Get all these so-called ADs, get these Bamas in a room and teach them. Teach them how to do good business. Teach them what to look for in contracts. That is what it's about, disseminating the information accordingly. Mr. D, coming to you. What's up, Mr. D?
What's going on, Scotty? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey, I just want to say this is the best show that you ever had. I loved it. I loved everything that you brought on. You brought on my guy, Hardy, Pelt, who broke it down. And, of course, you had the coach from Grambling. But I just want to say to Grambling folks, FAMU is coming for you. I'm not going to say how we coming, but we are coming for you because Grambling is at the top right now of the mountaintop, taking all of this media money. But trust that FAMU is coming for you. So keep up the great work, man, and holler at you later.
All right, Mr. D, appreciate it. Hey, Dre coming to you, then Mr. Campbell coming to you, and then I'm going to get to you other callers, I promise. Stay with me. Hey, what's up, Dre? Talk to me.
Hey, what's up, man? It's a great show. I think one thing, all these schools got to have non-negotiables when it comes to their dealings. Like stuff I just won't do or stuff that we have to have no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you don't have non-negotiables, you know, you're not going to be willing to walk away. So, you know how like he said, okay, we don't need to pay for nothing. We need to sit there and have accommodations. We need to have food. We need to have this, you got to have non-negotiables. So, I think that, and also I think that even though most of the ADs are probably attorneys, they need to have the right type of attorney, the right type of people looking over it, So if you might be a criminal attorney, that don't mean you need to be looking over media contracts, though, just because you're an attorney.
That's facts.
Because that's the first thing they will. Well, he's an attorney. Okay, that don't mean you're an expert at this. Though. So, I'm interested, and as well, Grambling is doing. Once they start winning, more people will start coming because everybody likes to be attached to a winner.
Absolutely.
So once they start winning, if Hugh turns it around, they're definitely going to see more return on their investment because everybody likes win.
Money.
So I appreciate it, man.
Hey, no, appreciate you, Dre. Appreciate the call. Mr. Campbell coming to you, and then after Mr. Campbell, 7537, then 9894, then 9762. What's up, Mr. Campbell?
Scotty. Okay, you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure. Listen, man, I'm being I pray for you every day when I wake up for your greatness because God has given you a talent. And you have made me so proud today because the conversation we have. This is what people want. Good, solid information that people are not giving so we can have great, intelligent conversation. So I am very proud of you. I am super proud of you because this is what I want you to do. All that other stuff, that's fun, but this is what HBCU folks need. So I want to just say that up front. Now, real quick with the quote. The quote is, white people walk out the door thinking success and are shocked that they end at failure. Black people walk out the door thinking failure and shocked that they end up at success. That is the quote. And that's the mindset we need to change. Now, here's the thing. I want to go to Mr. Pelt. Let's just say everything that he said was a lie, okay? It ain't no way those numbers match. But I tell you what he did do. He makes you now think about the numbers that you do have now and say, why can't we get to those numbers?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing what I like. Because, see, the problem is, I want to explain this to people, what happens, especially with HBCUs. When somebody, remember, the schools are funded by the state. So that means I give you money. So you get the money, and then Daddy going to give you some money next year, right? Daddy cut you some money, give you look. But now what has happened is, because these states are now treating HBCUs like businesses, we're going to audit you. We're going to make sure, a la Tennessee State, a la FAMU, a la North Carolina State, you now got to have a business mindset too. And that is the fundamental problem that we're fighting. The academic mindset versus the business mindset, because we're not judged on academics anymore. Because academically, we're doing great. Jackson State is graduating people.
Yep.
FAMU is graduating people. Grambling is graduating, but nobody cares about that. And what I mean by that, the white people don't care. Because for them, it's dollars and cents. How can we show that this is no value financially? So we got to be smart. We got to own this and say, if you're going to change the rules of the game, let me play the game that you're doing. And this is why we got to look for these other avenues for revenue and stop asking and begging the state to give us money, because we know they're not. Even when they give us money, look at Tennessee State, they still try to steal it right back.
Facts.
So we got to be honest with ourselves with this. And this is the thing that I think is a fundamental shift that's going to have to happen within the next 5 to 10 years for us to survive the way we want to survive. And what Mr. Pelt has done, even if you don't have to do business with Urban Edge or HBCU, you ain't got to like them. I don't care if you like them. What I want our HBCUs to do is to look at our value. And I want to address something real quick about demographics and things like that. It is not about the ratings point. It is about the targeted demographic. I'll give you an example. Golf and tennis. Golf and tennis do not get crazy ratings. But I tell you what, per dollar advertising, they got one of the highest spends. Because you know why? The people that watch golf and tennis make a lot of money. So I will spend money to acquire that customer. Me and you talked about customer acquisition. So here's the thing. Why do you think you see State Farm, Coca-Cola, Kia Motors, and all of them advertising on NBA? Because they know you black folks over-index on that. And that's what I know for a fact. My mother worked for State Farm for 40 years. You know why State Farm sponsors anything black? Because you know what State Farm does? They charge you on the minimum 15 to 20% more on your insurance policy. So who would you rather go get? A black person, you could charge 20% more, or a white person, you charge 20% less. So it's not about the total numbers. It's about the return on investment, which Hardy Pelt was talking about. So I don't need 5 million people if I can get 1 million people and make the same amount of money. Because it's easier for me to service 1 million people versus 5 million.
I remember we had a conversation. It's easier for me as Ralph Lauren to sell you a suit or sell you a shirt that's worth $100 than me being a small time t-shirt company and have to sell 5 t-shirts for $20. You know what I'm saying? It just works.
Exactly.
It just works differently.
So that's the thing. So that's why I want people to understand. So we don't need to get 8 million people to watch HBCU sports. It is about the targeted demographic of college educated people that Mr. Pelt, I mean, you talked about this, that over index on certain things.
Yep.
So we don't need that. And that's where the value comes in. This is where the disappointing thing is, what I don't see the commissioner doing is walking in. I've got these alumni that are in basically all metropolitan areas that are home buyers, buying cars, doing this, doing that, going on vacations. They're worth this amount of money per person. And this is what you do. Because if I give you 1,000 people, you take 1,000 of my friends, or 1,000 of my classmates are making between $75,000 and $250,000. Okay? They're upper middle class.
Yep.
They're going on trips. They're doing on that. So you think about all the consumer goods that they're buying. They're spending $40,000, $50,000 a year in consumer goods and buying spending. Each one of them. Those just my friends, my warm circle. So don't tell me that we can't go out and get that money. Now, I'm not saying no 500 million, but I know goddamn well we were more than 700,000. And that's all I got, bro.
Hey, appreciate the call, Mr. Campbell, as always. All righty. 7537 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
The main problem is we are not using the alumni email blast list that we have and looking at the value of it. Even with what Mr. Campbell said about spending, even with his small circle.
Turn your background down for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Even with the even with what Mr. Campbell just articulated, with not using that blast list, which is the fundamentals of revenue or potential revenue, with not using it and knowing what rights that or what percentage of the rights that you're signing away. That is the problem with the SWAC. I only researched it because of you. And I want to thank you for making me research it.
Well, thank you, sir.
We have a problem of not seeking the knowledge in order to go into the meetings. If you listen to what the Gulf Coast Commissioner said, she's even willing to teach and build together. No one with the gumbo she didn't put together, that is a milestone. What? From 1 year, I'm sorry, she did a 5-year plan in 1 year.
She did. No. She said, I'm on my 3rd year in my 5-year, in my first 6 months. That's what she said. She said, I'm on year 3 in my first 6 months.
I humbly apologize.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
I humbly apologize. But to be that fast track and still willing to aid along the way the next person to build stronger, come on, man.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Hey, appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Man, it's tough. She was preaching on that one. 8923. I see you, Gabe. I'm coming to you. Hello, caller. You live. 8923.
How you doing?
How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from South Florida, Miami.
Talk to me.
I have a few things to say. I'm also appreciative of your platform, and I've been learning quite a few things. I say, why can't we reach out to celebrities, the ones who have deep pockets? You know, they can help. We've seen Diddy help, but what about the Nas and the guys who helped Morehouse and people like that? And, or people who are coachable.
Diddy did not give the money.
Why can't they HBCUs?
Diddy did not give any money. Why? Listen, do you think Diddy has more money than a media company?
No.
Do you think any celebrity has more money than a media company?
Nah, you're right about that.
Okay, so it's like that helps, but that shouldn't be our main focus. Our main focus should get the money that we're required to get from media companies. That's the main focus. Appreciate the call though. Jesus Christ, bro. Oh, why can't we get something from celebrities? That is a Band-Aid over a sinking ship. The boat is sinking. There is water coming into the boat, and you're trying to put a Band-Aid over it. I need a stopper. I need a plunge. I need to get that junk stopped. Gabe, coming to you, then Wake.
What's going on, Sky?
What's up, man?
Well, yeah, like everybody else said, I agree. This is like one of the best shows you've had, and it kind of make me think about Jackson State and their situation and the SWAC. Because you reported, and I heard this from you. You reported that Dr. Hudson was, I think, a few months back, a month or two back, where they had they voted no confidence in him.
Yeah.
And now, with this alleged thing he got going now, so I'm just looking at the SWAC as a whole. First, you bought out the deal they had with the ESPN, like $700,000, something like that. And then with HBCU Go, 10-year deal, $120 million. That's $1 million school. And then and then they got to split 40%.
They got to give 40%. They got 40% goes back to the conference.
Right. So like you say, Dr. McNugget, as you call him, he don't know what he's doing, and apparently these presidents who sign off on these deals don't know what they're doing either.
That's facts. That is absolute fact.
So yeah. So we got to do better, man. And I'm like you, got to get a better media deal. And that's all I really got to say, man. That's good show today, man. And I'm gone.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, listen, man. Thank you, Sean, man. Bro. Thank you, Sean. My brother Sean, man. Like, I have been screaming this stuff for 2 years. And I'm gonna keep screaming it because at the end of the day, people be like, "Oh, Scotty, da 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 da, you hating da 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 da." I'm the only platform trying to push intelligence. Like, listen. I say this all the time. I lose out on a lot of money because I rather get the insight to how to make the money, right? Because people are like, oh, Scotty, I'm like, nah, like the information that you're giving me is going to propel me forward to make it on the back end. I'll take small stuff here. Why do people, I keep trying to explain to y'all, and I keep saying it, why do you see people go to different conferences and workshops to get better, to expand their palate, to expand their knowledge, to get insight, to expand their skills, right? You should always be learning, always. And the fact of the matter is that there is not an HBCU athletic director conference is asinine. It's asinine because there are things that there's things that Ashley Robinson can teach other ADs. There's certain things that the AD from that Gaucher could have taught other ADs. We have to help each other up. We have to. Are you my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. We gotta be each other's keeper. You need to bring in outside experts to teach. Oh my God, if these commissioners were as good as you think they are, that's how they would think. Who can I bring in to help my conference grow? They got a HBCU commissioners conference with each other. You all got bad deals. So essentially, it's the blind leading the freaking blind. Why not have an HBCU conference and bring in somebody that knows what the hell they doing, can teach you to make you look smarter? Come on, man. Come on. There are things that I cannot speak on because I don't understand it, right, to the full extent to explain it to you. So what do? I bring the subject matter expert in here to explain it to you, Bammers. That's how you make things. Thank you, God. Perfect example. Coaches clinics. Why do you think coaches pay to go to a Nick Saban clinic? Why do you think people pay to go to a Coach Krzyzewski's his clinics, or Ryan Day or Lincoln Riley? Because they're trying to get the knowledge to become better. So why not do the same thing in business? Why not bring in a Robert Johnson? Why not try to bring in a former commissioner or somebody outside of the HBCU realm to come in and teach about media? Why not do those things? Oh, my gosh. 4620 coming to you.
What up, Scotty?
What's up, Wake? Talk to me.
Now, I'm going to tell you, the information you put out today, powerful. You got people calling in, great show. I'm actually listening to it in my car like it was on the radio.
Appreciate you.
You talked about on this whole piece about value. And one thing you know about some of us black people is we don't listen. You can put the truth on it, but they're going to go their separate ways. You've been saying this for a minute, and I'm going to create this category for you. How many times have you heard the phrase, I done told you? So with this piece today, you told people the other day to tune in. You had these pros kicking in. There should have been more people watching this live or whatever they were doing.
Come on.
I tuned in on it. Now, with this piece right here, you provided something valuable. And we also know that a lot of stuff that's valuable does not come free. So I'm going to challenge you. And if people listening in this chat or whatever, lead this episode up for 1 or 2 days, Put this behind your members only channel and make them pay for it. Then you'll see that it's valuable, because most people, for the most part, don't believe something that's free is valuable. Make them pay for it. You had the other brother calling in that he learned something. He felt like he was back in college. You put some education out there today, it's valuable. Put the value on yourself, it's valuable content, and make people pay for this, because they ain't going to listen.
I love it.
I ain't saying that.
I love it.
That's all I got for you, brother.
Hey,
keep it up.
Hey, always,
keep it up.
man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. N.O. Joe, coming to you. What's up, N.O.?
Hey, what's going on, Scott? This is a goddamn good goddamn show. That's why I rock with you, man. I got a question. How much is the SWAC deal with HBCU go?
It's $120 million for 10 years.
10 years, so that's about what? How much to each school?
12. It's 12
a year.
It should be. It's supposed to be $1 million per school. But if you
a year, right?
Yeah, a year, $1 million per school.
Okay. How much is the ESPN deal with the SWAC?
$700,000 for the year.
So basically, you're telling me HBCU league pass paid Grambling more than what the SWAC in a year? They made more than that than the whole SWAC got paid a year? They made more than that? All the stuff they got?
Yeah,
is that what I'm getting?
The way you broke it down, I didn't even think about it like that. But yeah, that's essentially what happened.
Grambling got more than what the whole SWAC got this year, but all the stuff they received from HBCU League Pass. Probably about at least close around what the whole SWAC schools got this year, right? Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
Ain't that some shit? Way to go, Grambling. I'm gone.
Oh my God! Appreciate the call, N.O. Joe. Listen, I didn't even think about it. Like, if I'm being honest, guys, I really want y'all to understand all the investments that HBCU League Pass has done, right? Because a lot of you guys are so stuck on the production. Oh my God, HBCU goes production, which is granted, got it good. It's great. It's great. But these are intrinsically things that are going to make money for the school long term, and you see it on the campus. That's why Gaucher was able to do what he did at FAMU so phenomenally. I'm closing the call lines down. I appreciate it. I'm gonna close out, right? So phenomenally, because listen, the one thing about Black people is once they see something and once they see it like come to fruition, they can get behind it and they start pushing it, right? So once again, I'm gonna read these off. He got a LED scores table for all 9 members of the for the GCAC for Stillman and Grambling. That's complete. Funding new internships for the GCAC. That is life-changing for some students. New AI cameras plus coaching software for all GCAC members, right? That's just not for today. That's not for tomorrow. That is for oncoming coaches, and that is residual. That is a residual expense. A residual help. Comprehensive NIL program for GCAC, Grambling, Florida Memorial. Well, how important is the NIL programs nowadays? Everybody talking about it, right? Everybody's talking about it. Come on, yard talk, bro. You gotta Black people always want. You've been on this show for 2 hours and you just not wanting to call in.
There is one other participant in the conference.
Lucky
all participants are muted.
Lucky I mess with you. What's up, LaShonda?
Hey, Scotty, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Talk to me.
I want to play a little Jedi mind trick on the SWAC.
Oh God.
Okay. Now I know y'all ain't finna let Grambling State get all the money. I know y'all ain't finna sit over there and stay broke and playing money games and doing all this and let Grambling get all these new facilities and all this and that, and y'all just sitting over there looking how y'all look. We ain't finna do that, right?
That's what they finna do. That's what they finna do.
That's what they finna do?
That's what they finna do.
Why? Why they over there in that white suburbia ESPN? That's what they finna do.
That's what they fit. That's what they told me. That's what they told me.
That's what they said. Well, okay. Well, all I wanted to do is bloat a little bit because I've been trying to tell y'all for at least a year. And now y'all done let Grambling come on past y'all and do what we doing, and y'all still looking how y'all looking. So, hey, I ain't mad at y'all, but like I said the other day, I got the screenshot.
Hey, appreciate you, LaShonda. Boy, you crazy, boy.
All right, guys.
All right. Hey, that's my girl LaShonda Yard Talk on Twitter. You already listen. She like I'm telling you, she the Twitter thug, bro. That's Yard Talk on Twitter. Y'all already know what she is. I ain't gotta say nothing else. All right. Look at all the stuff they've done for Grambling. This is not just a date. This is not something that you give $1 and hope they spend it right, which a lot of HBCUs have a problem. I give you $1,000, make sure it goes to the right things. No, they are fixing the issue. Softball field renovations, soccer field renovation, new sideline gear, custom tailored suit, funding a new lounge, weight room, and locker room. That is just not for today. That's for the next 10 years that they can use that. NIL program, air travel, new shoulder pads, new meal nutrition program, Microsoft Surface Pros, and a football stadium signage. And also, they also match on Grambling's Giving Day. Oh, what was that, Scotty? Yes, you heard it correctly. If you're a Grambling night and on your Grambling Give Day, they have made a pledge to match it. So if you raise $1 million, they match $1 million. If you raise $2 million, they match $2 million. All righty, but y'all don't want to believe me. For Stillman, new basketball court for Stillman. Completely funding the launch of a new program. Practice gear, uniforms, court equipment, including the net, locker room build-out. Locker room build-out. So now women get the opportunity on Stillman at Stillman to play volleyball. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not just word of mouth. This is life-changing stuff, right? Stillman for 5 or 7 years can have a volleyball program, can bring in more students. And all of this is what they given in the last year and a half to Stillman, to the GCAC, to Grambling, has been north of $3.5 million. Listen, they say a lot of things about me. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Change cannot be hidden. Improvements cannot be hidden. If you go walk on Grambling's campus, you can't hide that. I can say a lot of stuff. HBCU League Pass can say a lot of stuff, but you can't hide renovations. You can't hide changes. What benefit does Hugh Jackson get from coming on to this platform and lying? What benefit does the commissioner of the GCAC for her to give me her time to come on my platform to lie? But like I said, like my boy Wake said, it's real funny. If I had a sign, if I had a thumbnail that was talking about Deion Sanders, because that's all this platform is about. I built my platform off Deion. I don't talk about anything else but Deion, right? I would have over 600 to 700, 800 people on this thing. But when it's coming to the numbers, see, people don't ever, the issue that a lot of people have with what I do, right, is that they don't like the truth. People, the one thing about the truth is it can't be changed. The one thing about the truth is it stands on its own. And no matter how you receive it, it just is what it is because it's the truth. You can't change that. And every day when I get on here and I just tell y'all what it is, unapologetically, I'm not trying to sugarcoat no shit for you. I ain't trying to make it sound good or whatever or gloss it over. It's the truth. And the truth of the matter is, over the time that you're able to make change, you have done bad business. And the people in power don't want to be taught any other way. See, this is the thing I have. And there's nothing wrong with being happy that there's a black woman commissioner. There's nothing wrong with having black women as leadership. But after a while, that has to trickle away. Okay? That has to go away. That prestige of, oh, we got a black woman as commissioner. Okay, that's great. Thank you. But what are you doing for the conference? It's cool when y'all rant and rave and Fox News talks about how McNugget is on the basketball committee. I don't give a shit about that. What money are you bringing in? What business are you doing? What business are you doing? Because after a while, you have to produce. Your color might get you in the door. Your color might get you the job. But what you produce is what sustains you. And what have you produced? What have you done? That's what you need to start asking the questions. To all these Bamas in the space, ask that question. Instead of getting mad at me for, oh, Scotty done said this, Scotty don't know what he's talking about, Scotty this, Scotty that. Ask the real questions. Oh, what are you doing? But what do I know? Hey, man, listen, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This has been Behind the Numbers with HBCU League Pass with GCAC Commissioner and Hugh Jackson. I want to give a thanks to all my special guests today. Mr. Hardy Pelt, co-founder of HBCU League Pass. Dr. Kiki Barnes, an amazing commissioner with the GCAC, as well as Coach Hugh Jackson of the Grambling State Tigers. All right, listen, until next time. Oh, also, let me say this. My bad, guys. Coming up tomorrow, 8 o'clock, me and my boy Blue. All right, we will be having a special guest talking about the HBCU Combine, the NFL Combine, the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft, and talk a little collusion as well with Lamar Jackson, things like that. Don't be surprised if I do a SWAC basketball watch party as well. That's probably where a lot of people are watching the SWAC tournament as well. And Sunday, ladies. All right, for the ladies, Sunday, 7 o'clock, Girls Need Girls. All right, tune in. All right, we appreciate everything. And before I go, you know me, I got to be petty. I'm going to just lead this up. I'm going to just lead this up for the people in the back so y'all can read this and see how much Grambling is getting. And you Bama's over there struggling to put food on your table at your institutions, most of y'all. All right, so and listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.